Capricorn, here's your overall for the week. Wow. Yeah. No shit. The Empress. Yeah, I would say that now is the time for you to stop juggling so much shit. It's time for you to start indulging in all the abundance that's around you. If you're a female, you look fantastic right now. I love the Empress. It is the mother figure, so we could be talking about an important female in your life. But in terms of you, you look great. You look great. I love the Empress, and I think it's because of my Taurus rising, because I look at that and go, yeah, I like to be comfortable. I like to enjoy things, so like I get it. She's about enjoying the physical senses. You know, some of you, again, you know, you could be like really comfortable right now, surrounded with a bunch of abundance. If you're pregnant, congratulations, right, babies? But I like it as the overall energy for this. Oh, damn. In the past, karma. I'm sure you guys have heard me before talk about judgment. You know, if it wasn't scary enough, they had to go and name it karma. But it's a good thing, though. It's feeling like, with this deck in particular, that debt has been paid. You know, there is no karma coming back around. It's not like a negative thing here. You know, making amends with the past. You know, getting ready to move on here. It is what it is. And I think that a lot of you have worked through some pretty major stuff here, looking at these two. Oh, wow. Really, Cap? Justice. You know what this is? This to me is one of those things where when you let go and just accept that things are what they are and you're okay with it and you're ready to move on, that is when the fairness and balance like comes into play. And it's funny because you got karma right above it. Now, right, fairness and balance, making balanced choices, making amends for wrongs here, final decisions. But, you know, with justice, it could be court issues, things like that. But with karma being above it, I think that things go in your favor. Because once you release that, you know, it would make sense that everything is just balanced and perfect. Like perfect for you. Wow, Cap. Oh my God. Really? It was Aries last week. Is it going to be you guys this week? Are you going to pull 7 of these? Death and future conditions. And I don't see this as a bad thing. I think that you finally have a situation here that is over with. And I think it should have been over with a long time ago, but you were okay with it. Now that fairness and balance is coming through, the situation is definitely over. But what I love about this death card is you see that kid in the background holding up them flowers. He's like, hell yeah, come in, wipe it out. Let's start new. And I love it. Wow, man. And if you're talking about transformation and you're sitting there as the Empress, oh boy, I wish I was a Capricorn right now. This looks really good. Like really good. I'm not feeling anything bad on this at all. You know, I don't think that because of you coming in with judgment or karma here, I don't think that you're going to have an issue with like not being able to let go of something. It's like it's final. It's finally over. Yes, I can wipe my hands clean of this and move on with my life. But wow. Okay. Oh, yeah? You think so? The 2 of Cups is your best path to follow. Wow. Now, for some of you, it may be that there's like a really good business relationship, right? The 2 of Cups doesn't always have to be romantic, but these are 2 people that are really like, you know, sharing their emotions with each other, right? Now, for some of you, if you have gone through like a difficult like divorce or separation, it's finally over with. Maybe it's time for you, especially if you're feeling good, to get out there, right? Now, like I said, on the other hand, though, it may be a good business partnership, but it's about coming together and seeing things the same, right? Wow, Cap. You know, and again, right? Renewed love. In your environment, the 4 of Swords. Now, I understand that. I understand that. The need to just kind of like take a minute to yourself right now, you know, especially if you know that something is being completely finalized and it's been like a pain in your ass for a while looking at the Four of Swords. Like, I don't blame you, right? And the only thing that I worry about, like, as far as the Two of Cups being the advice to you, is that, you know, with the Four of Swords, you don't want to stay in that kind of position for too long, right? I don't necessarily feel like you're overthinking things, but if you stay in that, like, coma for too long, you know, things may pass you by. But again, I'm looking at the Empress and I think that you're fine, you know. And as far as like karma coming through here and looking at it coming down, it's like, you know, you called a truce. You called a truce. It is what it is. And then justice finally came in here and a situation is cleared and over with. So I'm not seeing it as a bad thing. Your hopes and your fears, the Hangman. And I understand that, but like I said, even, you know, with death being there, I don't think that this is you being stuck with this situation. I think that you're glad that it's finalized. The problem is I think that some of you may be fearing that you're still going to be bound to this situation. You know, you're moving into this place now where things are definitely going to be finished out for sure. But, you know, because of what you've been through though too, because this is big, right? I can understand, like, not being able to make decisions just yet. You know, I think that, you know, especially with death being there, that some of you can be in, like, this waiting position here for things to finally be over with. But even then, I'm not seeing it as a bad thing. I don't think that there's any more on this situation that you need to see. I think that it's been over with for you for a long time. It's just now actually happening in the physical, I think. But, you know, how do you move forward? And the other thing is somebody else, like, trying to keep you bound to this, you know? I mean, whatever the situation is, whether you're dealing with, like, divorce or just court issues or, you know, getting closure on a situation. I mean, it's not the world, but I mean, fuck, look at it, you know? Like I said, I understand. But you don't want to keep your focus there, though, either. And like I said, I worry that some of you, like, stay in this position too long. And then coming out, the Moon. And you know what? I understand. And here's one of the things that I love, love, love about this damn deck. The Moon. Look at her. She is trying to find her way through the fog and the illusion and the bullshit and get back to that illumination and that clarity, right? Now, for some of you, if a situation becomes final, I think it's one of those things where, you know, you're really, like, trying to get out of, you know, the nonsense of the situation because it is over with. And I do worry that there may be a situation where somebody may be trying to keep you still looped in it. You know, and again, having the Two of Pentacles there. But the thing is, though, like I said, the Empress being the overall on this, I think you get that clarity that you need. There is no more illusion. It's like you're getting away from that, or at least that's what you're trying to do here. So now, there's a couple of different ways that I feel about this. Like, I'm hearing two different things. One is, you know, you're not going to let somebody else try to confuse you about what the truth of the situation is because you've already made amends with this, right? And it may be that you have somebody that's, like, trying to keep you in the fog. But with the Seven of Wands, you're like, hell no. You know, look, I can make my peace with this, but I'm going to have my say. And then looking at the Six of Pentacles, you know, when you're looking at court situations, it could definitely suggest that some of you may be receiving some money, maybe a settlement. But the other thing, though, too, is you're talking about the give and take, right? And then you have the King of Cups. So now this could be somebody that you're, like, standing up to here. Or we could be talking about somebody else coming through that may be giving you some assistance, though, too, with the Six of Pentacles. And that's the other thing I'm hearing. And then you have Scorpio and Pisces going on. And then there's this need here for you to, like, come together, you know? And it's almost like, I think for some of you, if you do have somebody new coming through, and again, I'm saying this because of the Two of Cups, it's like you may still be kind of stuck with, you know, this fog of everything that just happened. It may not be that easy for you to just be open to receiving something new, which is understandable. But, you know, either way, with the Seven of Wands, you're like, oh, hell no. You know, this is how I feel. This is where I stand. That's it. End of story. I'm not taking any more shit. But I'm not seeing anything super bad. Now, you know, it could definitely be that a situation is over with as far as the King of Cups goes, or you're getting better control over your emotions, especially with the moon being there. But, you know, again, I keep going back to that Empress and going, you're golden. You look fantastic and you deserve it. Looking at all of this, hell yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, when you're talking about addictions, that makes sense. Okay, now forgiving and learning, right? It may be that you need to forgive somebody for like butting their nose into your relationship, or, you know, somebody else that's like accepting this. When you're looking at the Page of Swords, right, he's a creep. I mean, you know, when you talk about stalkers, that's what that is. Somebody who is not just like looking in on your relationship, but like really trying to get your attention. Somebody who's really trying to cause some problems. Right? So there may be a need to forgive the fact that somebody actually went through with this. But it's only because you got somebody else who's being a creep and like sticking his nose where it sure the hell does not belong. You know, and I think that for some of you, you're like getting over that now. Now, as far as couples go, I worry a little bit. When you're looking at the Page of Pentacles, this is talking about the souring of a relationship. There's a little bit too much like indulgence here. Things are really not that great, you know, and it could be that somebody definitely has some addiction problems here, and there's a need for you to kind of look at that. You know, if you feel like a relationship is starting to sour, like fixing those codependency issues for whatever the addictions are. But damn it, Cap, why is it that, you know, you're reading to me, I'm like all excited about it, but then with your love life, there's like shit going on. But then your advice here is the goddamn Two of Cups. Like, what the hell? Oh, now, as far as that goes, though, I mean, with codependency, it's a need to just kind of like come together, talk about things, get to an understanding here. But with forgiving and learning, for those of you who are single, right, you might need to like get over this in order to open up to another relationship, because I really do feel like you wouldn't be in this position of needing to forgive if somebody wasn't doing something that they weren't supposed to. But, you know, like I said, Cap, with the Empress being the overall, I do think that you're golden. And no matter what you're going through, right, you're going to see your way out of this bullshit. I feel like you're determined to do that, you know. As far as the King of Cups goes, you know, if for some of you, he could be a bad thing. For some of you, he could be good. Like, I'm hearing both on that. But, you know, your advice here, though, is to come together, right? And maybe for some of you, find something that's going to be a little bit better for you, whatever that partnership may be. All right, Capricorn, so I really do think that you guys have been really put through it. But the way that you're coming out on this, and one of the things I always say about my Capricorns is that you always do the right thing. Always. But you look fantastic. It doesn't matter what kind of death and destruction is going on around you. The way that you come out on this, and this being the overall, I think you look good. Now, with karma being the past coming through, I think that you finally got to a spot here where, you know, everything's fine. Like, I'm just going to let it go. It is what it is. I need to move on. And then justice comes in. And everything is fair and balanced, and the situation is definitely over with. Now, I don't think that you have the issue here as far as accepting the ending of this. I think that somebody else may have a little bit of an issue, and I'm kind of wondering about that King of Cups, like I'm teetering on that. But, you know, I do think that you need to be careful about, like, being in, you know, this state here a little bit too long. Like, I understand, like, getting the news that justice has finally come through for you and then just needing to take a minute to be by yourself. Like, I get it. But don't think that, you know, you're going to stay forever bound to this situation, because with death being there, again, it's over with. And it's about your transformation. And again, the Empress being the overall, You are golden. You are golden. You look fantastic. I do think, though, that coming out of this, you may have been put in a position here where it's like needing to get out of the fog of the bullshit, right? I think that you were okay, and then all of a sudden things started actually going your way, and then it brings it back up again. But like I said, with the moon, it's like you're getting out of this. You're not going to be in the fog anymore. You're not accepting illusions. You know, you're not doing this. You're getting out. And you're finding that clarity, especially with this major ending happening here. But then, you know, I'm looking at you defending yourself like, fuck no, you know, this is how I feel and you're going to accept this. And absolutely, you should be speaking up for yourself. But now with the Six of Pentacles and the King of Cups, I mean, if we're talking about a court situation, you may be getting money from somebody. Now, on the other hand, though, I think that this is a situation that may be over for some of you when it comes to possibly a water sign here with the King of Cups. I mean, absolutely, you could be getting better control over your emotions with the moon being there, but I think this is going to have to do with another person. Because it always seems like it's always other people that kick off this major energy that we go through, right? But it could be that for some of you, somebody may be coming through. You may be willing to be a little bit more giving to possibly a new relationship, looking at the Two of Cups. But overall, the message here is for you to really find something better for you in terms of where you feel like there is a connection, whether it's a good business partnership, a job that like really fits you, or a new relationship possibly. A situation that is over with, it's definitely over with. But for you, I think, you know, I wonder if some of you thought that like love was just over with, but then there's this renewal, which is great. And I like it because once you finally let go and look at it as, you know, it is what it is, all of a sudden everything just starts falling into place for you. Now, as far as relationships go, you know, and again, general, right? It's not going to resonate with everyone, but it bothers me. It bothers the fuck out of me. Okay, so forgiving and learning. And I think that this is what you need to forgive. I think somebody put their nose where the hell it did not belong. And somebody actually followed through on it, because otherwise you wouldn't have to forgive. There wouldn't be a need for any type of healing of the past if somebody, you know, wasn't doing what they weren't supposed to. But with the Page of Swords, right, like this is somebody who's sticking their nose in, like wanting to get somebody else's attention, trying to butt in on a relationship, but I think somebody followed through on that. The other thing, though, too, is if, you know, this is just about somebody who is like trying to take what is yours, it's like needing to just, you know, let it go. Because if they're going to go ahead and do that, then you don't need it anyway, you know, and you certainly don't need to be hanging on to that. Now, as far as couples go, codependency, and then looking at the Page of Pentacles, yeah. This is the souring of a relationship here, overindulgence, and definitely addictions. You know, so now is the time for you to kind of like look at, well, you know, is this really a relationship that I need to be in if it's just like not enough for you? Or if somebody else is feeling like it's just like blah, it's not that great anymore. You know, and I worry that some of you feel like you need this. Like there's a reason why, you know, you can't just let this go because of the dependency issue. You know, and that could be even security and stability for that matter. But I'd like to think that looking at this, even with the difficulty as far as the love goes, that with Love Conquers All and renewal, that there's going to be something better coming for you. And I think that's why, again, that the Two of Cups is your advice. But, you know, Cap, as far as coming out of a really difficult situation here, clearly you did the right thing coming into this, but you're doing the right thing coming out. Make sure that you use your voice and don't allow anybody to keep you in that type of fog.